Today we're going to talk about quadratic functions and review all of the basic concepts of quadratic functions. We're going to be looking at quadratic functions that are in both standard form as well as vertex form. We're going to talk about how to go from one form to the other and how to find all the key components to be able to graph these functions. So to begin, let's talk about an equation that is currently in standard form. Sorry, my pen wasn't working. Okay, so if the equation here is in standard form, it's going to be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Keep in mind your a value cannot be 0, because if your a value was 0, then you would be left with the equation bx plus c, which is, of course, linear and no longer quadratic. So we do have to have an a value. To find the vertex of our parabola, we're going to be taking the opposite of b and dividing by 2a. So our b value is 8, our a value is 2. We'll do the opposite of 8 divided by 2 times 2. That's negative 8 over 4, or negative 2. Now keep in mind that a vertex is a point, so we're going to need an x and a y value, and so far we've just found the x value of that point. To find the y value, we're going to plug that x value back in. So 2 times negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2 plus 6. That's 2 times 4 minus 16 plus 6. 8 minus 16 plus 6. Negative 8 plus 6. Negative 2 again. So our vertex is the point negative 2, negative 2. Okay, for the y-intercept, remember that a y-intercept is going to have an x value of 0, and we're solving for the y. So if we plug that 0 into our equation, what we'll see is that if the equation is in standard form, the ax squared and the bx will be eliminated, and that c value becomes our y-intercept. So remember that when we're finding a y-intercept, look for that c value if it's in standard form. Now, in terms of the x-intercepts, when we're finding an x-intercept, we have to look for the x values where the y is 0. So essentially, we're plugging in 0 for y, and we're going to be solving this equation. Now, since it's a quadratic equation, we can solve it one of two ways. We can try to factor the equation and then use the zero product property, or we can use the quadratic formula if factoring is not an option. So in this one, I believe that we can factor it. We're going to start by factoring out a 2, x squared plus 4x plus 3. We're going to factor that trinomial. Factors of 3 that add up to 4 are going to be 1 plus 3. And then using the zero product property, we can set each of those factors equal to 0. Now, we don't need to set the 2 equal to 0 because 2 does not equal 0. When we solve each of these, we end up with x-intercepts of negative 1 and negative 3. So far, we have several points that we can plot. If we start with our vertex at negative 2, negative 2, we have a y-intercept up at positive 6, and we have x-intercepts at negative 1 and negative 3. Now let's talk for just a moment about what we call the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is the vertical line that goes through the vertex, dividing the parabola into two equal halves. So if I was to sketch in that vertical line, there's my axis of symmetry. Because it's a vertical line, we know that it's going to have the equation x equals, and because it goes through the x value of the vertex, it's going to have that same x value as the vertex. So the equation of the axis of symmetry is actually x equals negative b over 2a, since that was how we found the x value of the vertex. Now, why do we use the axis of symmetry? Because we can then look at that y-intercept. Since that y-intercept was 2 places away from that axis of symmetry, if we go 2 places away on the other side, we can plot one more additional point. So now we have a pretty nice parabola. We'll sketch in that parabola. Remember, parabolas should be curved. We don't want to make it V-shaped like an absolute value. And in this one, it doesn't appear that we need a table. Okay? The second thing I want to do is look at an equation that is currently in standard form and we want to rewrite this equation into vertex form. Vertex form allows us to very quickly identify the vertex. The vertex is the point HK. Here's our H and here's our K. But it does take a little work to get it into this form. When we are writing in vertex form, I'm just going to rewrite the equation. Our first step is to move the constant to the other side. So f of x minus 5 equals 2x squared plus 8x. Our second step is to factor out that a value. So I'll leave this side alone. And over on this side, I'm going to factor a 2 out, leaving me with x squared plus 4x. Now, I always leave a blank right away and then close my brackets, my parentheses. At this point, what I'm going to do is complete the square. And completing the square allows us to create a perfect square trinomial. To come up with this perfect square trinomial, we're going to take, for this missing spot, we're going to take the b value, we're going to divide by 2, so half the b value, and we're going to square that. Okay, now our b value in this case was 4, so if I do 4 divided by 2 and square that, that's 2 squared, or 4. So I'm going to be adding 4 into this trinomial. Now, whatever we add to one side, we know we have to add the same thing to the other side, but be careful because technically that 4 that's inside those parentheses is being multiplied by this 2, which means that we've actually added an 8 to the right-hand side, and we have to add 8 to the left-hand side. So now we have f of x plus 3 on the left. On the right, we factored out a 2, and we have a perfect square trinomial. Remember, that's what this is. A perfect square trinomial can be factored into a quantity squared, and the value that's going to go in this into this quantity you can come up with this 2 different ways. Some people say that it is half of that b value, or you could say that it is the square root of that c value. Okay, so now it's starting to look more like this. The only thing that's missing now is that we have to have this plus k, so we're going to bring this constant back over to the other side, which means that our equation now says f of x equals 2x plus 2 squared minus 3, and now we have vertex form. So from vertex form, we're going to find all of these key components of graphing. And again, the vertex is the h and k values. So we're looking at this value and this value. But remember that in vertex form, the h value is subtracted from x. So if we see an equation like this one, where the h value is added, you need to think of it as a subtraction problem. Instead of x plus 2, think of it as x minus negative 2. Therefore, our h value is negative 2, and our k value is negative 3. So we've got a vertex, negative 2, negative 3. Okay, the y-intercept. Option 1 would be take our equation in vertex form. To find a y-intercept, we're just going to plug in 0 for x, and we're going to solve. Now, on this one, we do actually have to solve. 2 times 2 squared minus 3. That's 2 times 4 minus 3. 8 minus 3, 5. So our y-intercept is the 0.05. The other option was to remember that we did start out with standard form, and we already learned that in standard form, the c value is the y-intercept. So if you do have the equation in both forms, you could find the vertex from one form and find the y-intercept from another. Now, to find the x-intercepts, we might have to do a little bit of work. We know that x-intercepts are going to have a y value of 0, so we're solving for the x when the y is 0. So once again, we're going to set this equation equal to 0, and we're going to solve. In solving this equation, we'll start by adding 3 to each side and dividing each side by 2, because we're trying to isolate that quantity squared. Now, to undo the squaring, we're going to take the square root on both sides. When we take the square root on the right, that leaves us with that x plus 2, that quantity alone. When we take the square root on the left, the big thing we need to remember is that we're going to end up with a positive and a negative square root of 3/2. Now we're going to come back to that and simplify that. We don't want to leave, remember part of radicals is that we don't leave a square root in the denominator, and technically our denominator has a square root of 2. So we might do a little work here off to the side to simplify that square root of 3 over square root of 2. And the easiest thing to do would be multiply numerator and denominator by square root of 2. That gives us a perfect square in the denominator. That gives us a square root 6 over square root 4. Since the square root of 4 is a perfect square, we can now write square root 6 over 2. So at this point, I have positive negative square root 6 over 2 equals x plus 2. Then I need to subtract 2 on each side. So now I have negative 2 plus or minus square root 6 over 2. Now, option 1, I could leave it like this and say these are my x-intercepts. Option 2, I could rewrite, since I do have a fraction on the right here, I could rewrite these two fractions with a common denominator. In other words, instead of negative 2 over 1, I could say negative 4 over 2 plus or minus square root 6 over 2. And now that I have a common denominator, I could combine those, and I have one numerator, negative 4 plus or minus root 6 over 2. So this would be a second option for an answer. In terms of graphing this, we're going to need to put this into our calculator to determine exactly what these decimals are so we can figure out where to graph these. These are going to have to be approximated. When you put them in your calculator, be careful that you're doing it in steps. I would recommend that we do negative 4 plus square root 6, close those parentheses, divide by 2, and give us our first answer. Then we're going to do it again with a minus square root 6, close those parentheses, divide by 2. So negative 4 plus square root 6. Make sure you're out of the square root before you close your parentheses. And it looks like our first one is approximately negative 0.78. So our next one, negative 4, parentheses, negative 4 minus square root 6 divided by 2. And our next one is approximately negative 3.22. So if we were to graph what we have, keep in mind we will be doing a little bit of estimating. We can graph our vertex, negative 2, negative 3, negative 2, negative 3, and we can graph our y-intercept of positive 5. And keep in mind that our axis of symmetry is the vertical line going through the vertex. So here's our axis of symmetry. If we use that axis of symmetry, we can plot another point on another value that is symmetric to that y-intercept. So now we've got at least good 3 points. In terms of estimating these other two, negative 0.78 is going to be just before negative 1. And then our other x-intercept was negative 3.2. That's going to be just after, that's going to be just after negative 3. And so now we have our parabola. Okay. The final thing I want to do is look at actually writing a quadratic function, given some information. So if we know we have a vertex and we know a point on the graph, now keep in mind this point is not a y-intercept because it does not have an x value of 0. I would, since we have a vertex, I would start with vertex form. Y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And the first thing we can do is plug in that vertex. We have an h value, we have a k value, and we can plug those in. But we also have an x value right here that I can plug in for x, and we have a y value right here that I can plug in for y. So really the only thing that this equation is missing is the a value, and that's what we're going to be solving for. If we plug in all these values, 4 minus 2 squared plus negative 9, or you could just say minus 9, we have everything except a. So negative 5 equals a times 2 squared minus 9. I'll add 9 to the other side. 4 equals a times 4. If I divide by 4, my a value is 1. Now the equation or the problem said to actually write the quadratic function. So now I need to go back and write the actual equation. I'm going to do that right down here. So my actual equation was y equals, plug in my a value of 1, and we still want to plug in that vertex point so that the only remaining variables in our equation are the x and the y. Those are going to represent all the other points on the parabola. Now, the question is, does this function have a maximum or a minimum? And without using your calculator, where does this point occur? So think about whether or not this parabola opens up or down. If the parabola opens up, then it's going to have a minimum value at the vertex. If the parabola opens down, then it's going to have a maximum value at the vertex. So we've got our vertex. We know our vertex is at 2, -9. Since our a value is positive, this parabola is opening up, which means that vertex at 2, -9 is actually going to be a minimum. Okay, so we know we have a minimum value at, now the minimum, remember, is talking about, you're thinking about going up or down. How far up or how far down do you go? So the minimum value is actually the y value of this vertex point. So we have a minimum value at -9. Here was our equation.